Hello, welcome to my show. My name is Susan Rushton and this is Olio. And I want to begin the show by telling you what Olio means. Olio is short for olla podrida, which is Spanish for rotten bowl, which I just get a lot of kick out of. It's a pork in all its iterations. Bacon, sausage, pig's ears, pig's feet, as well as chicken, chickpeas, cabbage, carrots, beans, onions, garlic. As I said, everything in the world in it except mushroom popcorn and peppermint tea. That's one definition. Another definition is that olio is what comes in between acts of a melodrama. You might have somebody juggling, you might have somebody singing, you might have somebody doing a skit, and none of it has anything to do with anything else, and certainly none of it has anything to do with the melodrama. And the reason I call this show Olio, because there's no connection between one show and the other. My guests on this show this time are two people who you may have seen regularly on Friday between noon and 1 in front of the City Hall, 1225 Lincoln Way. Next to me is Shirley Ballinger. Shirley Ballinger, thank you very much for joining me, Shirley.
Pleasure.
And Mike Davis,
Hi.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
And before I go any further, Shirley's email is shirl@infostations.com. Mike's is auburndude, and I'm going to ask about that, at yahoo.com. And the reason I have given you their emails is that aside from a couple of Facebook pages, that's the only way to contact them, other than if you know their phone number, or if you drop by the City Hall at noon on any Friday. That's the only way to contact them. So, Shirley and Mike, what am I talking about when I say noon to 1 on Fridays in front of City Hall? What's going on?
I can explain that.
Okay.
It's what we do is it's in honor of Greta Thunberg, the young lady that excoriated the UN.
Yeah.
She did something called Climate Strike Fridays at first, and it was basically her just cutting school on Fridays and protesting for the climate. And it became a worldwide movement. And now it's morphed into something called Fridays for Future. So
Fridays for Future.
that's basically our gig there in front of City Hall, is Fridays for Future, in honor of Greta Thunberg.
Okay. And when did this start?
When did Greta go out?
No. When did you start this?
We started shortly after we heard about Greta.
Okay.
There was a day that I wanted to honor her, and so I took a sign and sat out in front of City Hall, and it was a long time ago. You and I probably can't remember much of the detail, but you were the first person who went by and asked me what I was doing out there.
The first person who asked.
Who stopped and asked, "What are you doing?" So we were there, I was there to honor her, and then Mike jumped in, and he's the communicator, and he lets people know. He collects email addresses and so on. He lets them know if he is going to cancel, but we never cancel. We're always there on Friday, noon to 1.
And
Unless it rains.
And
when
you say you're always there, you're always in the air. At least you're always in the area. What happens when it rains?
We cross the street in front of the French restaurant, and what other businesses are there? Oddfellows are there.
Yeah. Okay.
But it's only rained once or twice since on Fridays, so.
Well, isn't that amazing?
She's much more of a diehard than most of us. Most of us choose to just forego the
And
day.
does that include you?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Okay. But you're there the rest of the time.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Okay.
Fair weather friend.
Ah!
Yeah. Okay. And you're calling it Fridays for Future.
Correct.
Right.
Would you explain that? Those,
Sure.
so there might be someone who has never heard of Greta.
There's a national organization called Fridays for Future,
Okay.
and Mike heard about them, put us on the map. So if you Google Fridays for Future and look at their map, you will see Auburn.
We've got a little
Has a
dot in
spot.
Auburn.
So
on there.
tell them that. Tell them that.
Okay.
Fridays for Future.
Yeah,
I don't even know how you
just
Google them.
Yeah,
but
and you can go to their map of actions, and we've got a little dot on the map for Auburn.
Well, wonderful.
yeah, so we're something.
And you don't know the year you started this?
It was late 2018 or 2019.
Okay.
One of those times.
Okay. I do remember walking by, and there you were, in a
Sitting
chair.
on the grass.
Sitting on the grass.
Sitting on the grass. And what are you doing? And
Okay.
so I said,
And do you remember what you were holding?
I wish I could remember what sign I was holding, but it had to do with climate.
Okay.
Climate emergency, climate change. Even though there are several deniers of climate change.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
okay.
Yes. Well, no, it isn't.
Well, it's okay for them to think whatever they want to think, but they will be affected.
No matter
The
what.
whole
Yes.
world is going to be affected.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I s-
Okay. So once you started several years ago, there was one of you.
One of me.
Now, when I come down Highway 49 and turn left at Lincoln Way, I see 20, 30.
30 is the most we've had.
Okay.
We average
15, 20.
15, 20
Okay.
around then.
How and people saw you, and then what?
They come, they say, what are you doing? And then they want to join us. Some people come. He's advertised through 350 Placer.
What?
So 350placer.org, which is now ending because our president wanted to retire from it and couldn't find a substitute. If anybody out there would like to volunteer to be chairman or president of 350placer.org, please call us.
And while we're talking about it, what is
Yes.
350placer.org?
350 is the number of degrees. No, it's the amount of CO2 that was in the atmosphere, parts per million. That was when we were living in a very stable situation, and with our carbon emissions, we're up now past 420, 421 parts per million. And that is the reason the climate is warming so, because it's a heat trapping gas.
350 was deemed the safe limit,
Okay.
Right.
and we're well over that.
So far.
Yeah. Yeah. So far.
Yeah, so far over it. And not stopping.
Right.
We're not reducing our CO2
Yes.
emissions.
The,
It's climbing.
A recent report by the International Panel on Climate Change, basically the IPCC, put out a report that says that we are basically destined for at least 1.5 degrees of climate change. That's baked in. The only thing we can do now is to mitigate it and try and reduce the catastrophic effects that climate change is going to bring.
By reducing our emissions and by recapturing some of the emissions that we've already put out there.
Yes. We not only have to reduce how much we're putting out, we have to start taking that CO2 out of the atmosphere.
Is that possible?
To get back, well, it's possible, but it's going to require major lifestyle changes.
And money.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
But we have to try to get back to that 350 limit at least, you know. So that's the challenge.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. And Mike, before we started taping, you mentioned a couple of websites, not websites, Facebook pages.
Facebook pages, yes.
And so tell them what it is.
I regularly post to Real Auburn, CA, Real Auburn, California. They're a Facebook page. On Fridays, I advocate to have people come out and join us. And the other Facebook page is the local Democratic club, the AADC, or Auburn Area Democratic Club, is where I also post
Okay.
notices for our action.
So you're involved with a Democratic club. Does that mean that only Democrats can?
An emphatic no.
Emphatic no. I'm not a Democrat.
We are non-denominational. It
That's
doesn't
right.
matter about your religion, your politics, whatever. As I saw a great sign that said, a thermometer doesn't care if you're Democrat or Republican.
Okay.
So,
Yeah. So it doesn't matter.
right, we're all in this together.
We're all in this belief, all in this together. So if you want to join them, no matter what side of anything you're on, if
right.
you're on this, if you're on this side of this
Yes,
problem, you can join them.
yes.
We do have people who go by and maybe give us a one-digit
Salute.
Really?
We laugh, we wave, we yell out thank you, and sometimes we clap because, you know, sometimes people won't change their mind.
Yes,
And
We
yeah, they say, get a job. But if you look at us, we are old people. We are all retired, and we want to say, but don't
Yes.
get a retirement.
yeah. But
Because it's a fun thing for us to be out there.
we have a
enjoy
little
it.
saying that they give us one finger, we give them two.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Of course, it depends on what side in England. You know.
Oh, really?
Yes.
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 I didn't know that.
Forget I said that. So you are at this age. You started three years ago.
4 years
Four,
ago.
Okay,
maybe.
3 or
Yeah.
4 years ago, but this is not your first. I'm assuming that this is not your first time of protesting. First.
No, in fact, we used to stand at Bell and 49 with Peter Colster and his wife Kathy, who started, I don't remember the name of the organization.
Something Solidarity, American Solidarity Group or something like
Right,
that.
and we would stand out there after an election of a president whose name I don't mention. And
We're not supposed to be
Gosh.
political. but
well, I was there, and he went by and stopped at the gas station and came over and said, you know, what's going on? Who's doing this? And so
the rest is history.
from then, we've just kind of been out on the streets.
Okay. Okay. So this is not something that you've done since you were young.
No,
Okay.
no.
What were you doing when you were young? What were you working at?
My previous job was with the Sacramento Tree Foundation. I was a tree steward and checked on the planting and the growth of trees that were given by SMUD to reduce heat absorption into windows. We wanted to plant trees that would,
Yeah.
you know, help cool houses. And, well, I was a realtor for 10 years in the Sacramento area. Before that, I was a mom.
Yes. Yeah. Where are your children now?
I have 2 sons living in Humboldt County and 1 son living in Marin County.
Okay.
And my grandchildren are, one is in New York, Manhattan, going to college.
Wow.
One is in UC Davis, where he graduated. And the other 2 are still in Humboldt County.
Okay. So you have a reason other than yourself.
To care about what the planet is doing.
Yes.
That's right,
Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah. And you, Mike, what were you doing before you retired?
First part of my life, I was not a mechanic. I made my way up to journeyman through the union, and that was a good gig for a while. I learned a lot. Was able to work on my own cars, and then did a short stint cabinet making, custom cabinets for these elegant homes down in Danville.
Oh.
Yeah, that lasted a little while, and then I went back to school and got a degree in engineering.
What
and,
kind of engineering?
Mechanical engineering. And basically went to work for a big nationwide firm, engineering firm, designing water treatment plants, water and wastewater treatment plants. Basically a way to avoid being, you know, or drafted into the service, you know, drafted into the military. I didn't really want to devote my talents to the military.
Okay.
And that was basically it. I retired from HDR. I think it was in 2016.
Okay.
I've got a daughter in Lodi and a daughter in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Oh, alrighty.
So
I have a question. Do you have cars that use gasoline?
I have one smart car that uses gasoline, gets about 43 miles to the gallon. I have one big diesel truck, which I use about 2 times a year, and I'm really seriously thinking about selling it. It's got great side boxes and a slide out bottom.
that's a dynamite truck.
It's a wonderful Cummins diesel truck, but not much use to me anymore.
Yeah.
And I have an electric car.
Yeah.
Not a Tesla, but an electric car,
Okay.
which I drive mostly around town.
Yeah.
It takes me to Colfax and back, it takes me to Roseville and back, but I can't do it for long distance. It's not a long distance.
Right. Of course, it depends where you go.
Right. Right.
Mike, do you?
I've got a gas burning Subaru.
Okay.
Which he doesn't drive very much because he goes
She
mostly
carts me
with
around
me.
in her electric car.
All right.
So,
So it works out.
Good.
could I say one other
Yeah.
additional thing?
I hope so.
Because we demonstrate also in downtown Sacramento for Extinction Rebellion once a month. We take the bus from our multimodal station here in Auburn on Nevada Street to Watt Avenue where we can catch light rail and take light rail down to 7th and Capitol Mall and walk a little distance into Old Sacramento. So it costs us 60 cents for the bus ticket and it costs us $1.25 for the train ticket to get down to Old Sacramento and then double that to come back. $1.25 back and 60 cents back on the bus.
Hear that? Gosh, that's wonderful.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, it's a very ecological way to get around.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. And it's not difficult, and whatever walking you do is good for you.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
And I, of course, live close enough to walk to the multimodal station. So he has to put a little bit of miles on his car.
Yeah.
Okay. And I had an electric car. My husband and I have an electric car, which is smarter than both of us. and I have a truck, a truck that I've had since 2003 that I drive most of the time no faster than 60 miles an hour, which is probably, I've read that the faster you drive, the more gas you use.
That's correct.
And drat.
Yes.
And everybody is always passing me.
Yes.
Always.
Yes.
And they're always close behind me in the slow lane. And
Yes.
I work very hard to stay at 60.
Yes. I do not mind driving behind trucks.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't mind it. I mean, and in my smart car, because it doesn't have a lot of muscle, if I want to pass a very, very slow truck, I make sure there's not much traffic coming in the
Yeah.
next lane over.
Sure. Sure.
Anyway.
Okay. Back to the meetings.
Yes.
This gathering. I've seen several placards, several signs
Right.
about, and they're not the same things.
No.
They don't say the same things, and sometimes, and the message I'm getting from you is that you don't bring out the same placard every time.
We bring many signs, and people who join us pick through which one seems to say something
It's their
they
choice.
feel.
Okay.
We have things like, we thought the earth was ours and everlasting.
Mm-hmm.
An idea that I got from watching Don't Look Up,
Oh, the movie.
the movie Don't Look Up.
That was a great movie.
And some are Don't Eat Beef, or I have a picture of a cow with a burp on it.
Or something else.
Yes.
Right. Mostly our gatherings, aside from everybody standing holding a sign, are mental health, because we jibber jabber with each other and just have a nice
Oh, you mean
community
it's
conversation.
It's community. It's not It's not, yeah,
It's-
and it is mental health, but it's helping.
It's a social gathering.
Yes, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Because a lot of the climate news is very depressing. It's hard news to take,
Yes.
but it's based on
Necessary.
fact.
Yes.
So, in order to come up with ideas about how we can sustain ourselves and our community, we stand out there and jibber jabber.
Yes, yes, yes. And I'm convinced that it's not only car emissions.
Oh
No,
no.
no, no,
Oh no.
no. It's because part of us are with Third Act, Bill
Yes.
McKibben's newest
ThirdAct.org.
organization, ThirdAct.org. It's about getting our money from the big banks, B of A, Citibank, Chase Bank, and Wells Fargo. Sorry if I shouldn't name names. That they want us to
Divest.
at least threaten to take our money away if those big banks don't stop funding fossil fuels, which is what they are doing. So
More drilling and
some of
more-
our signs are about the big banks. Some of our signs are about, gosh, what else? I mean, I've run
Well,
out of ideas
My,
for
my,
signs.
my favorite is Greta had a placard on her sailboat that she sailed over here with that said "Unite behind the science," and so that's the sign that I hold
Yeah.
Okay.
is to
Yeah.
because it's hard to argue with.
Unite behind the signs.
Yes.
Okay.
Adults must act urgently. We don't even
Things
say
like that.
call your senator or anything because that's getting to be a little political, but we need people to vote like their life depends on it.
Yes, because it does.
Yes. You heard that. She said we need people to vote as if their lives depended on it. Yes. I also regret. I look around my house and when I'm cooking or putting stuff away and I've got plastic everywhere. Everywhere, and it's and I go to the grocery store and there's plastic everywhere. Everywhere.
You get takeout food.
It's easy to reuse the plastic that we do have, that we've already collected.
Sure.
Plastic bags can be used over and
Yes.
over and over. You can
Yeah.
wash them, hang them up,
Sure.
and use them again. You
I
can carry
do.
them with
I do
you.
that.
You don't have to take new plastic bags from the grocery
Right.
store. But we all love plastic for one thing and another.
Convenience.
It's a useful
Yes.
item. So much of our clothing is made with plastic.
Yeah.
Hard to avoid.
Yeah. So much of the food that we take home in plastic containers, we waste.
Yeah.
30%
Yeah.
of our agricultural stuff is wasted.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we have to cut back on our food waste.
And what do you say to people who say, "What can I do?"
Don't waste food.
Well, how do you avoid wasting food?
You eat what you buy. You don't waste. You don't buy more than you're going to buy and throw it away.
We often split a serving at a restaurant.
Sure.
Just to make sure that we finish it all.
Right. We carry our own container to take our, if we have leftovers,
Yeah.
to take them home and eat them later. We there's a list of things that we do that's kind of crazy. Not just on
good.
food. All of our food waste is composted. Our water, for me, cold water in the shower goes into a bucket until it gets warm so that I can flush the toilet with a bucket of water. I've cut down on bathing. I've cut down on laundry. People around town have seen me in the same clothes day after day after day after day. I don't buy new things. Almost
Yes.
everything I wear is secondhand or somebody else's cast off before it gets to
The
a
mantra
secondhand
we try to
store.
go by is reduce, reuse, recycle.
Don't buy anything you don't
Reduce,
really
reuse,
need.
recycle.
I know. They say economics, but
But I
It's-
mean, even with all our efforts, all our individual efforts, that's still not enough to address the problem of climate change. 70% of the emissions are from approximately 100 companies in the U.S. So that's who we have to pressure, and that's what has to change.
Yes. And I'm wondering how how you, I guess, making people, letting people be aware
Yes.
of this sort of thing will will certainly unnerve them,
Yes.
and some of them will think, well, there's nothing I can do, and some of them will think, maybe there is something I can do.
Yes. Call your congressman.
Like the lady who went by, saw us out there.
Oh,
She was
yeah.
contemplating buying another car.
That was a great
She
success
saw us,
story.
it made her think, oh, why don't I look at electric vehicles?
Yeah.
And she did. She
She-
bought herself an electric
She
car.
she came to our demonstration and told us that we were responsible for her getting a Tesla.
Yeah,
So
making her think beyond
Yeah,
regular
so-
cars.
it's rare that we get confirmation like that,
Yeah.
where we actually made a difference, you know.
Yes.
So
Yes, and I feel so grim about this, but I'm always proud when I'm driving my electric car. I'm always proud when I see the two of you and the 30 people who are with you.
yes,
And I'm aware of different things coming along the pike. New things, different things that have nothing to do with gasoline or oil or plastic or.
In fact, climate is everything. Climate is life. Climate is plants that are growing. Climate is the clothes we wear. Climate is the
the air we
people
breathe.
that have to migrate to find a place to find food. Name me one thing that's not climate. There's nothing.
It's not affected
There's
by
nothing.
climate. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So we stand out on Fridays.
Yes, you do. And why only Fridays?
Oh,
Because- well, gosh.
question. That's a bad. Why not more days out?
I think it gets back to our mental health. But we do, like I think she mentioned, go with Extinction Rebellion once a month down to Old Sac.
Yeah.
And basically what we call tabling. We'll have a little banner in front of the table that says Climate Survey.
Okay.
And we stop people and, hey, can I ask you a few questions about climate change? They say no. We say, how about one question?
Okay.
And just kind of get your foot in the door. You
Sure,
know?
sure.
That's a way we raise awareness also.
Okay.
San Francisco can raise a huge crowd of people to go out on a demonstration. Auburn is not
Auburn is smaller.
a very
Yeah.
big community, so
Yeah.
we're happy to see anybody who wants to come out and join us.
Absolutely. I am thrilled to have had these wonderful people on my show. This is Shirley Ballinger and Mike Davis. If you want to get hold of Shirley Ballinger, SHIRL at infostations.com. Mike Davis, Auburn Dude at yahoo.com. Shirley and Mike, how would you define success for this group?
Success might be, one little aspect would be to have the city of Auburn electrify their city buildings with solar or wind instead of burning any fossil fuels.
Okay.
It would be nice on the police station, city hall, the courtyard,
Mhm.
and increase what we have at the water treatment plant.
Okay.
That would be a wonderful success. If that can happen within a year,
Yes, that
I
would be wonderful.
thrilled.
I'm
I
sorry
would
to
be
laugh.
Another more easily discernible success would be if we had more people come and tell us that they bought electric vehicles
Yeah,
due to our presence.
that would be wonderful.
That's very nice.
Are you interested in having more people join you?
Oh, absolutely. We always
Okay.
I recruit every Friday.
people are always welcome to join. I think they'll come and have a good time.
Yes.
Good.
And learn a little bit about climate change.
Great. So they meet on every Friday at noon in front of City Hall, 1225 Lincoln Way in Auburn. Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Susan.
Yes,
Thank you.
Great. Thank you for joining me.